Welcome to another episode of I Speak African with Yanu. I'm your host Yanu, and today I want to discuss the California wildfires. Now, wildfires in California have always been a thing, but global warming has exacerbated the fires to the point where now the wildfires in California is a yearly event. Now, I'm going to show you a graph which shows that the year 2024 was the hottest year on record for our planet. You know, if you think about it, it's just crazy. Wildfires, snowstorms, tornadoes, you're seeing it more and more as the years go by. Now, with the wildfires going in California, there's been a lot of looting, people taking advantage of each other, a whole bunch of crazy things. But the craziest thing is how the landlords in California have been increasing rent for fire survivors. Now, Los Angeles landlords have increased the rent to not all, but many have increased the rent to something of about 120%. Look how crazy that is. People are trying to survive, and you have these greedy people who are just taking advantage of desperate people. And they're charging. I saw that on Zillow, one person charged like $15,000 increase because they know how desperate people are, And then on another point, State Farm, insurance companies aren't giving current homeowners and new homeowners in California fire insurance because they know that if they give out fire insurance, everyone's going to qualify, and when their houses catch on fire and burn down to the ground, they're going to have to pay them out, which would most likely make them go bankrupt, and they don't want to do that. I personally think that's illegal. I think the government should get involved and tell State Farm, you're an insurance company. You have to give people insurance. And keep in mind, even if you have fire insurance, State Farm and many of these other insurance companies aren't paying you. So just imagine you spend your whole entire life paying for fire insurance, paying for flood insurance, or paying for tornado insurance, because that's a thing. And then those natural disasters happen and they're like, no, we're not going to give you anything. Like, we're not going to pay you at all. And that's what they're doing. But speaking of State Farm, I think it always made me laugh how State Farm never addressed the whole recasting of Jake from State Farm. And I don't know if y'all remember, but Jake from State Farm used to be a white guy. He used to be like a white-looking soccer dad type guy. And then they changed him to this black guy who hangs out with Drake. Apparently, the new cool State Farm Jack from State Farm, or Jake from State Farm is friends with Drake. But I digress. Again, I'm not complaining about that. But everything's about making money. I guess they thought they were going to appeal to a younger audience if they, put on a young, cool-looking black guy, which I don't have any objections to that. But one thing I do appreciate and I do admire is how Tyler Perry is getting involved and he's helping out people. And Tyler Perry doesn't even live he probably has a home in California, because all these rich people do, but I think he predominantly lives in Georgia, Atlanta. So I really admire what he's doing because he doesn't have to do this and he's really helping out people. You would think that Hollywood being in California, and that's the epicenter of this tragedy, that you would have all these multi-millionaires and billionaires really going out and helping people who are in need, provide them with food and and clothes and just helping them out as people. But they're not doing that. Instead, what the rich are doing is they're hiring private firefighters. And these firefighters are being paid around $2,000 an hour to protect the homes of these super rich people. That should be it should be illegal because you're pulling away resources that everyday people need. And for what? Because they don't want their vacation home or their, even if like these people have multiple homes and mansions. Yeah, I understand you don't want to burn down to the ground. Who wants your home to burn down to the ground? But if your home were to burn down, you could easily, you would get insurance because I'm pretty sure the insurance company wouldn't deny a billionaire or a millionaire. But even if they did deny you, you have other homes. A lot of these people, they poured their life savings into these homes. They lived there for 20, 50 years. That's all they have. So I think that should be regulated. And that's one thing that people talk about a lot, is how the big government is always interfering. It seems like big government only interferes when it has something to do with the everyday person, not these rich people. Because state government, meaning Gavin Newsom, or even federal Joe Biden, they can intervene and be like, you can't hire private firefighters, because if you hire private firefighters, what are the everyday people gonna do? Like, who's gonna protect their homes? Who's gonna protect their assets? No one. And these people, they desperately need it. Another topic I want to speak about the fires is that incarcerated people, and I think this is only a California thing, it could be in other states where fires are very prevalent, but incarcerated inmates are being paid about $1 an hour, and about 1,000 inmates were sent out, or incarcerated people were sent out to fight fires. I think there was actually a show. I don't know if it's still on air, but there was actually a show on Fox where the main character, he's like an inmate, and I think he was framed or something like that, but he's an inmate / firefighter, and he goes out and he fights these fires with local firefighters, because that's actually a thing. It's a program in California, and it's supposed to be a integration program, but it has constraints. I think that they should pay them much more than $1. That's ridiculous. Like, that's really ridiculous. And then also they say that time is taken off, but from what I was able to research, it's not a lot of time. It's something like, for every day you go out, you get about 2 days shaved off your sentence. That's nothing. Everything needs to be put in the context. These firefighters who are going out to say they're, save California, save these different cities, whether it's Hollywood or it's Encino or Pasadena. It should be, what did they do? What crime did they commit? Now, if it's something serious and heinous, I wouldn't really feel bad for them. If they were a pedophile or they were unaliving people, no. But if you're a drug offender, like that, compared to those, the 2 previous crimes I mentioned, those are nothing. It's nothing. The crime must fit the punishment. Like I said earlier, and I want to reiterate, they should be getting paid much more than $1 an hour. This is very dangerous work. And not only that, their sentences should be commuted upon, completing this task as incarcerated firefighter. They should have their, sentence commuted, because they served, they are not only serving time in prison, but they're also coming out into the wild, and they're doing their best to extinguish these fires. And firefighters are stretched thin. They even have firefighters from other parts of the state that are coming over to help. And these incarcerated people are risking their lives to save the homes of people they don't know. It's not like they can go to their loved ones' homes and be like, okay, let me make sure they're saving the lives of anyone. And they're risking their lives putting their lives on the line, just like, you know, normal firefighters. And, you know, so because of that, yeah, their sentences should be commuted. But also, to speak about normal firefighters, they deserve a pay raise. Like, they don't get paid they're not getting paid what they deserve, especially after fighting these fires. Like, that's a very dangerous job. They should be getting pay raises, benefits should be increased, all that stuff, paid time off, all that stuff. Yeah. And another very prevalent issue is that the fire hydrants aren't producing water. A lot of them aren't producing water at all, and those that are producing water are producing a low water pressure. You know, so imagine, that's why a lot of these houses the fires aren't being contained in many areas, because they turn on the fire hydrant and the water's coming out, or they turn on the fire hydrant, the pressure's not strong enough to actually, extinguish the fires, and these fires are just spreading like crazy. And I saw this one media excerpt where this woman is confronting Gavin Newsom, and it's like, what are you going to do about the fire hydrant? And, what's going to happen? Is this going to happen again? And he's like, it can't happen again. And it's like, how long have you been the governor of California? You've been the governor of California. This is already your second term as governor of California. What have you done? What have you done for the Californian people? Nothing. And like I said in previous videos, be very careful about who you elect into office, because a lot of these politicians, they just come in just to make money. Gavin Newsom is one of them. Now, the Canadian government and the Mexican government are sending over firefighters to help, which is, very nice. But ironically, it's very ironic. It's funny that Donald Trump is still claiming that he wants to buy Canada. So, if he were to buy Canada, which that's not going to happen, it's literally impossible. Who would, then what? It would mean that America has to allocate more money to another, I guess, state, based off of what Donald Trump is saying. They have to allocate more money to another state, which would put America in even of a bigger deficit, economic deficit. And the silver lining in this horrific, phenomenon or event is that you see that everyday people are coming together to help each other and protect each other. I saw that this one guy, he was, spraying not just his house down, but also spraying his neighbor's house down, which was very, it was very comforting to see, because in a time like this, the Californian people really need to come together. And I will continue to update y'all about the events that are going on in California as they continue. But before I end this episode, I want to say that I remember a time when there was no global warming, or global warming wasn't as crazy as this. And in the East Coast, you got your snow. And then when spring came around, not even before spring, snow melted. And then, spring came, summer came, winter came again. Now, you have snow that will fall in, let's say, December. And then it will continue until about March, just as you have these fires that are starting, in the springtime or maybe the summertime, and they're still going on, even during the winter. And a lot of people need to put pressure on their elected officials, because when people were screaming out, global warming, these elected officials were like, no, you guys are making it up. It doesn't exist. You had Al Gore, who ran for president in 2000, so 25 years ago. And even before that, he was talking about global warming. That's exactly why he won the Nobel Peace Prize. So he's been talking about that for a long time. And it's only now that a lot of people are starting to see, yeah, there is a global warming problem. The planet is fighting back. That's what's going on. The planet is sick and it's fighting back, and we're the ones getting it sick. So when you see the whole entire large landscapes of California on fire, this is why it's on fire. But there's also been some speculation that some of these fires were, they were caused by arson or, a spark of a power line. So even this one power line company or electrical company in California is being sued because there's a video of sparks igniting or sparks going off, and they're saying that those sparks ignited some of these brush fires. It caught onto dry grass, and it just from there it exacerbated. It just went crazy. And also another thing I've been thinking about is, you have all these TV shows that are being rebooted or cartoons. I'm thinking, why didn't they bring back Captain Planet? Like, more than ever, 2025, not even this 2025, this decade we've been living in, or the past 20 years, we need, a cartoon like Captain Planet to come back, especially now, to show that, global warming's a real thing. And I was just thinking about how he was, running around or flying around and saving, the planet from looters and polluters. And you have the Planeteers, doing their part. But none of these executives or none of these creators thought, hey, let's bring back Captain Planet. I would love to see Captain Planet again. It was a good show. It was very educational. And I think in times like this, we need something educational. We need something that children can watch, or even grown-ups. They can watch that shows you that it's important to protect their environment. It's important to protect the earth. But like I said, I'll keep you guys up to date about what's happening. I'll continue to post more videos about the wildfires, whether it changes or it exacerbates. But thank you for listening to another episode of I Speak African with Yanu. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to share my channel. I can be reached at ispeakafrican12@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out my Instagram pages and Facebook pages. These same episodes can be also downloaded on Spotify. Thanks everyone. Stay blessed.